Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian, and joining me, as always, is your co-host, Jim.
Hey.
Your co-host, Spaz.
Hello.
And your co-host, Hunter.
Yeah, no, I'm here too.
Hello, my friends. This week, excuse me, we do not have a guest. So I thought we'd try something a little different. We've tried to meld the news into our more regular podcast, and I don't know if it always works. To me, it feels kind of like a pothole, like a speed bump, especially when we have a guest. So I thought, why don't we have a show dedicated to like recent news? And we can do like kind of a roundtable and talk about some recent developments in space gaming and just regular gaming, because you can't have an hour show on just the news of one genre. I mean, what are we going to do? Tell you about every patch that came out? That'd be stupid and boring.
And in today's patch news, 4 hours later.
This game got a patch, it fixed 3 things. This game got a patch, it fixed 2 things. Like, no one wants to... Hey, AC Wraith. No one wants to listen to that. So we're just going to hit, like, the big things. So I'm going to start. And in space gaming news, I have a few things. The first, to me, this is the biggest announcement. Void Destroyer 2 is quote-unquote weeks away from being released. It's been in early access forever. The developer had a child. Well, he didn't, but you know, his marital unit had a child, and a lot has happened since we had Paul on the show last. I think it's been in early access for 3 or 4 years, at least. So he just updated that we're weeks away from being released, which is huge, because I don't know if you know anything about Void Destroyer 2, but it's an impressive game. It's a first person, flight combat sim, but you can also zoom out and make it like a real-time strategy kind of game. It's an open universe with missions and an economy and everything. It's something of an achievement, and it also has a better interface than the first game did, because the first game was kind of maddening. So I'm disgustingly excited about Void Destroyer 2 actually hitting 1.0. It's one of those games, it's like been chugging around forever, and finally it's coming to fruition. The second biggest piece of news, in my opinion, though it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, Steven Peeler is working on Drox Operative 2. He keeps mentioning it. He keeps mentioning it in Twitter. Like, this is going on in Drox 2. My favorite race is in this. This is my favorite race in Drox 2. Blah blah blah. So it hasn't been officially announced, but it's on the way, and there are probably a few people in this world more excited about that than me. Because as you all know, Drox is one of my favorite games like ever, and he's pretty good with his sequels. Din's Legacy was great, for example. So you can make Drox Operative, but more and better. Then it's gonna be one of the best games ever made. Huh?
Sign us up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So don't know when or what or anything, but he's talking about it on Twitter, so it's gonna happen. Just nothing official yet. Yeah, I'm with you, AC Wraith. That's a big yay. It's a big Kermit flail for me. So then the next big piece, and the next 2 pieces of space game news I wanted to mention are both Slytherin related. The first one is that Battlestar Galactica Deadlock is getting another piece of DLC. This one is called I can't even tell what it's called. Hang on. Yeah, I can't find it. Ghost Fleet. Sorry. Yeah, later this month, they're getting, it was their fourth piece of, or fifth DLC. I think it's fourth or fifth. It's going to have a new 10 mission campaign, new ships. This is also going to coincide with a free update that has quality of life updates. So that's pretty awesome to see this game just.
Listen.
Yeah.
Can we somehow petition CBS and like Disney to let these guys just do what they're doing with that game, but like with Star Trek and Star Wars, please?
I just have them make a Dominion game, like a Dominion war game, like another one, like not the one that came out 20 years ago, which apparently was garbage, but another like Trek Dominion game. How great would that be?
I mean, maybe.
I mean,
of course
I don't know.
Yes, I want that. Because
no, I would
like we could really because we haven't really had any sort of like Star Trek RTS, like real RTS, other than mods, in a very long time, or even some kind of a Star Trek strategy.
I mean, the last one was Armada 2, right? That was the last Star Trek like strategy game, right?
Well, I feel like I have a legitimate, like an actual game. I think Armada 2 was the last Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, there've been tons of great mods for Distant Worlds, for Stellaris, for Sins of a Solar Empire. There've been a ton of great Trek mods.
Is a fantastic mod for Sins.
Right.
However,
we would love a real Armada 3, like an actual like good Armada 3. I have to admit I haven't played Armada 1 and 2, so I'm gonna fix that. I know I'm gonna fix that.
They were definitely unique for sure, and they had some interesting mechanics. I wouldn't call them amazing RTSs or even great RTSs, but I was certainly entertained by them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that assessment.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna play them. I just for the classic Monday space game stream, they're definitely on the in the rotation, on the list. But we just did 3 Star Trek games, so I wanted a little break from Star Trek games for a little bit. But yeah, we're definitely gonna be playing them on Mondays. Excuse me. Suffice it to say, if I can get them to work, which I hope I can. But yeah, if those folks at, was it Black Lab Games who's making Battlestar Galactica? I think it's Black Lab Games. Like, give them all the licenses. Just give them everything. I mean, we said this before. We were so skeptical about a BSG game. Yeah, we're all like, really?
Yeah, because like we never have gotten anything like super grand from that IP. Just like we've never gotten anything super grand from the Stargate license either.
Yeah.
And that's not to say there weren't any attempts, either. So
right.
Just like nothing ever came out.
Right.
Well, to be fair, the BSG game on PS2 was it was pretty good. It's just
very good. It's balls hard.
Yeah, it's insanely difficult. Yeah.
I'll give you that. Yes.
I was trying.
The only other one they did after that was BSG Online, and that was a pay-to-win mess.
Yeah,
I played a lot of it. I know.
But the 2000, I think 2 or 3 console game. I've actually been trying to chip away at that thing recently. I'm like stuck on the 4th mission. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's great for a console. They got so much on the console gamepad. Like, especially for a game at the time, it's really impressive. But damn.
Well, I mean, at least it's getting some. I mean, at least BSG is getting some like content of stuff. I mean, at this point, it's looking like we've had 2 pretty good entries into the genre when it seemed like we weren't ever going to get anything good because there's just like what kind of game can you make out of Battlestar that hasn't already been told in another media, right? Like we've had the TV and some comics and stuff like that. But like, what can you do in a game that isn't going to just be like, all right, well, this is boring.
Well, BSG is a pretty damn narrow story. You know, it's like there's nobody but the people that are in this convoy, and we're being chased by the Cylons.
Yeah,
right, yeah. Plot wise, you're thin on like
yeah, like lore wise, the BSG universe is like a pamphlet compared to some other universes.
Well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, I think Caprica, even though it wasn't as like acclaimed of a show, definitely explored some of the legacy of the lore of the Cylons, for example. But but for sure, it's done not as deep as a lot of the other stuff that's out there. But I was gonna say, like, at least we got something though from them, because for example, one of my all-time I've got two, but like one of my all-time favorites is Stargate, and there was a couple of console games back in the 90s. I think there was the Super Nintendo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a Super Nintendo
for the movie.
Yeah,
I was gonna say for the movie. Oh.
So there was a side-scrolling platformer, and then I feel like there was another one for at least like the Sega Saturn or Sega CD or something like that.
Well, I got two for you. There have been 2 attempts to make a Firefly Online, and
yes, I remember this.
Both have just crashed and burned and disappeared.
See, here's so flash forward. If we're talking about like sci-fi IPs to come to games, flash forward, Stargate did get a mobile game, but it was not great. Ask me how I know. But there was, and I know Spaz knows about this too, but man, in the early 2000s, there was attempts to make a Stargate MMO. There was attempts to make an actual like first person game. There was all kinds of things that they were like working on, and I don't know what I need to go like look into this. I don't remember what all the details were about it, but like all of that stuff just got canned quickly. There's a trailer after the show. I'll link it to you, Brian. There's actually a game trailer for the MMO that they put out.
What?
Yes.
Oh man.
And it was supposed to take place in the far future of like the universe of Stargate, where like the Stargate is just like freely like known, and you're just like, you're part of, you explore the galaxy. So pretty crazy.
Well, the other property I was going to mention that I'm sad they never made a game out of was Space Above and Beyond. I mean, how perfect would that have been for a video game? You got your space fighter combat, you got your ground combat, you got your ship-to-ship like stuff, and you got your cargo run mission. You got that show and everything. And
it had everything except another season.
Oh, well, yeah.
Let me say that right now.
Oh,
it deserved it.
Not wrong.
Yeah, it and Firefly are kind of like side by side for me right now.
Did you ever end up finding a DVD set of Space Above and Beyond?
Not in a good price range, no.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I swear I covet that thing. I got it when it first came out, and I will like never. Like, if anyone has to borrow it, I'm like, no. That never leaves the house. Just like my Alien Nation DVD set. That also never leaves the house. Because those are expensive. The final space game news I will bring up is that it's also Slytherin related. They had a Space 4X game called Astra Exodus that was released last week. It dropped on last Thursday. And we're going to have the developer on in a couple of weeks, which is going to be interesting because the reviews for that game, not great. Sitting right now at mostly negative on Steam. Not great.
Room for improvement.
There have been games that have started out as mostly negative at launch and have steadily improved.
Well,
so it can happen.
It can, but
Slytherin wouldn't kind of jump in there and provide some advice along the dev side.
They haven't done a lot of Space 4X's, and I feel like if they had, they would have been like, okay, we played your game. It's exactly like Master of Orion 2. There's nothing different. You have to add some kind of hook, something. But I've been playing through it, and it's like, I've played this 1,000 times before. I hate to be negative, but it's like, I've played... The deja vu is strong with this one. And,
yeah, but is it a good Master of Orion 2 clone? If it's nothing but a Master of Orion 2 clone, but it looks pretty good, and the UI is better, then I'm cool with that.
It's got some weird foibles. Like, it gives you a list of ships that, that you can build, like, right away from the get-go. But let's say there's 2 frigates. One of them is a scout, and one of them is an attack frigate. But it doesn't say that anywhere. The only way you know that one's a scout frigate is that it has default behavior of running away, and the other one has default behavior of attacking. It doesn't call it a scout. It's not labeled a scout. And so I have accidentally built a scout when I meant to build
stats or anything.
Huh?
Does it have different stats or equipment or something you can look at?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing has guns. So like if you like show, so yeah, I mean, but like looking at the 2 pictures next to each other, they're the exact same. And there's no like language to tell you, oh, I just clicked a scout. I just clicked a assault frigate. Like nothing. So that's one kind of maddening thing for me. God, there were a few others that now I'm totally blanking on. But yeah, there have been. Oh, the other thing is, you'll get an alert at a turn. Hey, you've got some advice from your government guy, and he tells you to lower your taxes so you can get more materials for whatever. So, okay, I lower my taxes. Next turn. Hey, you've got some advice from your government guy. You should lower your taxes. Okay, I'll lower my taxes as low as I can go. Next turn. Hey, you've got some advice from your government guy. You should lower your... I'm like, oh my God. Like every turn, they'd be telling me to lower my taxes, and I couldn't lower my taxes. This isn't early access. This just came out. So it's like, oh God. So but the developer is working on it. And so we're going to talk to him about it in a couple weeks. That'll be fun. But yeah, right now I'm not feeling great on it because I feel like I've played it 1,000 times before. And it's hard to recommend. It's hard to recommend when someone can go get Master of Orion 2 or Stars and Shadow or Galciv 2 or 3 or Dawn of Andromeda or Endless Space 2 or whatever other billion forgettable Master of Orion 2, I guess 2016's Master of Orion, however many other billion forgettable Master of Orion 2 style games there have been. It's hard to recommend this one when it's buried under that mess. So, sorry, Astra Exodus. You got work ahead of you. But we'll talk about that, I guess. So that is my space game news. Now, Baz, I believe you have some space game news to share.
I do indeed. The first thing is there is a giveaway for our Star Trek Online players. There's a giveaway right now where you can get a Discovery Starter Pack, which is worth about $20 if you are just buying it in game. This is kind of a big deal because it also gives you bank slots, inventory slots, bridge officer slots for one of your characters. So, yeah, I'll link that in the stream chat.
Yeah, the pack. Hold on a second. The Age of Discovery pack comes with a prototype light exploration cruiser, which is pretty nice. And for all those who like Discovery or are amused by it, at least you get a tardigrade companion.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Oh God. Oh God.
It's a non-combat pet. And it's
Which is a shame.
actually.
Which is a shame because I'd love to see it wrap its disgusting teeth-filled face.
There are combat pets of that type.
Oh,
but this one is a non-combat pet.
Oh.
You asked.
I find tardigrades terrifying.
Now, I don't know if this was part of it, but like I had available on because so when you redeem the key, you go to the Zen store under promotions and you can redeem it there. And the bundle actually comes with 2 different things. So you get the Discovery Starter bundle, plus you also get a Cyborg Miracle Worker Bridge Officer, an Elite Services Starter Pack, and an exclusive emote called Poke, which I don't know what that does yet. I haven't checked it out.
So
when I was in here, though, I got a Star Trek Convention Hololita Bridge Officer available. I don't know if that was part of it.
No, not part of it. Separate.
I don't know where she came from, but I have her now.
But the Elite Services Starter Pack is only redeemable for one of your characters. So if you have a bunch of characters, just make sure you redeem it on the correct character. The other stuff is an account unlock. So you can get the ship, the bridge officer, the pet, all that on any of your characters.
There's also a Picard pack. I heard there's also a Picard pack as well.
There's a Picard bundle. Yes, there is. That is it's kind of expensive, but it has the Miradorn Raider
I thought he said there's a Picard pet, and I thought like it would be like a little mini me.
No, it'd be the dog, the little pit bull #1 that he's got.
That's not in the game, but that would be funny.
Oh,
Anyway, go on. What's in it?
Oh, it has a Miradorn Raider from the episode with the death of Professor Galen. And Picard goes off and leaves the Enterprise and disappears. So that ship is a fun ship to fly. If you like escort ships, oh, hell yes, it's fun to fly. I've been using it. I've been enjoying the hell out of it. It also has the T5 Enterprise D. It also has the Stargazer, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's a bunch of
fun
uniform
little ship.
options too.
Wow. Yeah, the podcast we Hunter and I both listened to called The Greatest Generation. They're now being sponsored by Star Trek Online, and they're giving away one of those packs in a contest. That's the only way I know about it.
Well, I mean, it's kind of on me to keep up with the Star Trek Online news since
folks, if you're unaware, we have a very active contingent of Star Trek Online players. It's all PC, right? It's no PS4, Xbox.
Well,
it's all
our group is PC, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
there's no cross-platform between PS4 and PC, unfortunately.
Which is a shame. That's a shame.
For us, it's all PC.
So yeah, folks, if you're into Star Trek Online, head over to our Discord. There's a link below on Twitch or YouTube, or you can go to the spacegamejunkie.com site and click the link to Discord over there. We have a very active Star Trek Online contingent if you want to join. It's really great to see. I'm not in it at all because I only have room for one MMO in my life. But we have several people.
Get your hobbits out of here. No one wants to hear about your hobbits.
But what about second breakfast? But yeah, we have a lot of very active Star Trek Online players. If you'd like to head over and link up with them, we'd be happy to have you. Just FYI. So Spaz, did you have any other space gaming news?
Well, the other news I have is it's a bit of a personal note, but I can throw it out there just so you know about it. I have joined Jump Drive Studios as community manager.
Jump Drive Studios, the folks making XO, or
that is correct,
or Kiss Hug, or whatever you want to. I mean, sorry, that was terrible. I mean, if I was going to make a sorry.
So it doesn't affect anything as far as Space Game Junkie is concerned. I just have to make sure that if we bring Brian back on as a guest, that, full disclosure, I'm part of the team. Other than that, yeah, it's started on Sunday.
Congratulations on that. I mean, that's pretty awesome, actually.
Funnily enough, it's the second game I helped kickstart and then joined the team afterward.
Yeah, because the Kickstarter was like 1,000 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I started as a Kickstarter backer on Quintet, and then joined the dev team after that. And now here that's happening again with XO. It's kind of a weird full circle sort of thing.
It's all about who you know, man. It's all this networking we're doing. Hunter, I believe you also had a piece of space gaming news to share.
Not really. I just wanted to echo what Spaz kind of mentioned with Star Trek Online. Hold on real quick. How's my volume, by the way? Is my volume, because I see someone said it's a bit low.
See, you sound fine. You sound fine to me. You sound fine to me, and you're not peaking anything. You're not going to the red. And the levels look good on the mixer, so you sound fine to me.
Well, anywho, so Star Trek Online just put out some new content for its 10th anniversary called Legacy. And if you are remotely at all into Star Trek, one of the great things about Star Trek Online that they've done with these two new missions that they put out is they have eloquently they've eloquently done a love letter essentially to Star Trek as a whole. And
the entire franchise, really.
The entirety of the franchise. The ending to the 2-part mission that they added to the game that you get to do just is kind of it. Spaz was actually on the voice chat with me when I started entering the tail end of the mission, and it blew me away. It was one of those things where just like I couldn't have asked for just a better thank you from the MMO developers to the Star Trek franchise. It was very well done. So if you guys are remotely into Star Trek, I highly recommend looking into that, because it was really cool. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to spoil the experience for somebody else.
Right. It's both kind of great and kind of sad that if you want new Star Trek gaming content, Star Trek Online is your only avenue, pretty much. But
to be fair, it's a good avenue.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They're doing a good job being the caretakers of this universe.
Well, let me say this: when Star Trek Online hits, it does hit pretty hard, and they've been hitting pretty hard the last few times, especially with a lot of the new Jim Hadar stuff that they've added in, a lot of the DS9 legacy type stuff that they've put in, a lot of stuff dealing with Odo, with Renee's kind of like last bits that he contributed to the game. It's
and Aaron's as well.
And Aaron, that's right. I'm sorry, Aaron's as well. And yeah, if you're a fan, they've just done some really quality work with that stuff. I mean, the Jim Hadar stuff alone, the new stuff that they put in, I guess the new DS9 arc that they put in, quite literally feels like a season of Star Trek DS9, and that you're living it. Like you're not just watching it, but like you're in it, and that's kind of cool. Very few games I feel like make you feel like you're a part of the world in that way. A lot of times it's just like, you know, you and like 50 other people are also killing the main boss. You know what I mean? Like in Star Trek Online, they definitely kind of make you feel like you're it in the show. So
That's really great. Well, okay, so that's all the space gaming news that we brought with us today, y'all. Now we've got normal gaming, but non-space gaming, I guess. Everything else gaming. The one thing I wanted to bring up is that NVIDIA launched their new platform, their new streaming platform called GeForce Now, which is similar to Stadia, but better because it uses your existing games?
well, yes and no.
Yes and no.
So,
okay.
So Stadia, or excuse me, GeForce Now has actually been in beta for several years.
Right.
Several years. I mean, I've had, for example, I've been, I got my NVIDIA Shield portable back before they had the tablet and the console. They just came out with the portable probably about 5.5 to 6 years ago at this point, I think. No, it was longer than that because it was before I got married. So it was definitely more than, I think it was like about 6 years ago now. And I've had this portable, and even back then they were beta testing their GeForce Now stuff, and they were talking about the GeForce Now platform. During the beta process, it's definitely evolved to where you can utilize your own accounts through Steam in the cloud, and it'll stream your own games to you through their cloud service. So there's that. Plus, you can also, if I'm not mistaken, stream games that they have access to as well. I think there's a portion of that, or a side portion of that, where you can actually it's like games in their ecosystem that you can get your hands on as well. But for them to have been, here's the crazy thing though, but for them to have been beta testing this for so long, and it's funny because like they're not, NVIDIA, right, is not necessarily part of like the big E3 stuff, right? They're not part of the, not typically, so it's not your Microsofts, your Sonys, and your Nintendos, right? So like usually when you look at E3, it's like that and then like PC. And even though maybe NVIDIA is part of PC in the realm of like they supply the graphics cards, like they're not really the company that is talked about, right? So NVIDIA having this technology and pushing this technology has really been pushing it upon a very small niche group of people. And they were doing co-op streaming for a long time, even before Steam added it in, where you can play a local co-op game. Even before Parsec, even before all these guys, NVIDIA was actually beta testing all that stuff. So I think that's pretty crazy, right? That as long as they've been doing this, and then all of a sudden out of the woodwork, Google comes along and goes, "Hey guys, check this thing out." When Google announced that stuff, it kind of made me want to slap them, right? I'm just like, you guys are not original. Like, you didn't create this concept. Like, you're not, and it felt awkward to me because it's just like we've this isn't new.
Yeah, what concerns me about the whole damn thing is that you have to buy games through them. What happens when they shut it down? Because it's Google. They're going to shut it down.
Right.
There's
a high chance that they're right. That's the biggest argument, Brian, because first of all, not only do you have to buy games through them, you can get they do put out some free games from time to time, like some of these other services, but you have to, first of all, you have to buy their hardware, which is funny because you have to buy their controller, right? You have to sign up for their ridiculous service, which is expensive. And that's that, right? Like once once you do that, like if their service goes away, now you're stuck with a controller that doesn't, and games you no longer have access to.
Yeah, like,
and not only that, Brian, they're games that are like worse versions of the same games on other platforms. So like you might be able to play Borderlands 3 through Stadia, but it's not going to be the same version of Borderlands 3 everybody else has through Epic.
Oh God.
Right.
So and GeForce's service is only $5 a month as well, which makes it
amazing.
I think also that's a very attract. Like I might even try that. That sounds very, very. I don't know. I don't have any other devices that I would need to do this, but I want to try it. You know what I mean?
So here's an argument for you. You talked about like in Google Stadia.
Right.
You know, I think ownership of games has always been like I think a concern for a lot of gamers, especially the console gamers, because it's like, hey man, my games. What about my games? You know, we've been living in a world where Steam has existed for a long time, so the idea of digital goods has been a thing. And even though Steam has been around and it has no signs of ever going anywhere, there's always that chance that Steam might just go away. In which case, all of those digital games that you've bought through Steam, unless you've backed them up somewhere, just don't exist anymore. Which is also kind of a thing, because even though Steam allows you the opportunity to download the games locally to you, if their service is gone, you won't be able to ever get them again. You know what I mean? So it's like a weird trade-off where the benefit from something like Steam and Xbox and PlayStation is when you buy the game digitally, you download it locally, and then you just have it on your local hard drive and can play it. And that's the thing about Microsoft with their new xCloud stuff that they're getting ready to come out with, which is going to be the same thing as what Stadia and the GeForce stuff is. So, but they also have their game streaming service of their Game Pass, which is it's not game streaming, but it's like their Game Pass, which is essentially you get access to a whole slew of games for a very low monthly cost. So when you combine that with their Xbox Live service, you're looking at a very low monthly cost to not only get access to constantly play games online, but to get access to almost all of the latest first-party games that Microsoft's going to be putting out. So, you know, and quite a few third-party games. So, I mean, it's quite an attractive offering at such a low cost from Microsoft. The thing that is appealing about NVIDIA's solution is you're not paying for access to. It's not an additional cost. So, like with Xbox, you have to have Xbox Live and Game Pass, right? If you want to play like the online portions of things. But like with NVIDIA, it's just like you're just paying for the NVIDIA service to stream the games to you, because you're not paying for access to, like, it's the Xbox Live argument, right? Like, you know, Xbox players have to pay to play online, as where PC players don't. So that's the nice thing about that.
Right, and I'm tempted to sign up just to give it a shot. Very tempted, to be perfectly honest. But that's my one bit of non-space game news. Jim, you have a couple things that you want to talk about.
Fallout 76 will be amazingly appearing on Steam. No one will give a shit. And
language. Good.
Yeah, so they're going to bring it over to PC, and it also comes with the new DLC, which is going to add humans everywhere, which was the thing they were like, oh, yeah, we're not doing that. Well, now they're doing that because they found out that was a bad idea. That's about it. And then Warcraft is giving instant refunds for Warcraft 3, which Hunter has a whole long rant about that.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. You also mentioned a game that you looked interested in, the mech game. What was that?
That's an excellent question because I forget.
You lived it in Green Room.
Yeah,
I lived
Damon.
it in New Games and Deals as
Oh yeah.
Damon Ex Machina.
Yeah, Damon Ex Machina. That was a GameCube, a Nintendo Switch exclusive, and then they found out that they should probably put it on the PC. So that's coming to Steam. The store page is already up for it, but it's gonna be $50. I'm gonna say no. Don't buy it at $50.
Does it have? I wonder if it has enough content to justify that price. Because I saw that
Not a
too,
bit.
and
Nope. I mean, it's a cool game on the Switch, but even the Switch people were like, game's really short. All the customization stuff you can do doesn't really matter. And, it's kind of, they were kind of disappointed. So it's like, yeah, if this is coming out at $20, sign me up, but not at 50.
yeah, we'll probably get it on deep sale because it does have co-op. So I am intrigued, but yeah, I'm waiting for under $10 for that one because it's like they're charging a full 60 for it, I think, out the gate, but it's on like has a discount on it right now. But who the hell? Yeah, I don't know. There are other mech games to play right now.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Spaz,
I mean, I'm intrigued, but I'll wait.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going anywhere. Spaz, you had a couple pieces of news, I think.
Yeah, our friends, the Tracy brothers, who we all know for the Star Trader series, they've got a new Kickstarter, which is, well, it was funded within a day, basically.
Yeah, Kickstarter that's been kickstarted
within like 12 hours.
Yeah. It's, and I just linked it in Stream Chat. In fact, it looks really cool. Turn-based game in the Cyber Knights universe. So it's, yeah, I'm very intrigued to see where they're going to go with it.
Is this their second or third Cyber Knights game? Because I know they've done a couple on mobile. I've played at least one of them, but I think they've done one or two mobile Cyber Knights games before this one.
I'm tempted to say it's their second.
Yeah, you're probably not. You're probably right.
They still have 30 days to go.
Yeah, they still have 30 days to go, and they hit their goal.
They've already blown through a couple of the stretch goals. I think 3 or 4 of them last I looked. Yeah, I mean, they've got the goodwill. People love their games, so I was less than surprised to see it hit their goal that quickly because they're great. You know, they are great.
In terms of post-release support, there are a few devs that can claim to support their games that far ahead of release.
I think we're almost at 200 Star Traders Frontiers updates at this point. I think they just did 197 or 198, I think. And
we constantly wonder whether or not they even sleep.
Yeah, I think they're data and lore. I think they're like they're androids who ingest the liquid nutrients to keep their biofunctions going, but that's it. That's all they do. They don't sleep or anything. Or whatever the hell Data said. It is good for him. So yeah, those guys do not sleep, and we love them for it. And it's great to see them continue to be successful, because when you see someone that dedicated, you want to see them be successful. And so we could not be happier for was it Tracy brothers? Is that how you say it? I keep saying Treese. Mm-hmm. It's Tracy. Like okay.
Yeah.
I kept mispronouncing their name. I just say it how it's spelled. But yeah, folks, if you want to head over and check out that Kickstarter and give them maybe a tiny bit more money to make them feel even better, why not? Because I mean, it's going to be a great game. They're good for it. They make great games. So even on mobile, like I played a bunch of their games on mobile. They are deep and fantastic. And as you all know, Star Traders Frontiers is probably one of the best space games of the last decade. It's just so deep. Crafty Dog, they've got multiple stretch goals. Last I saw, they had like 8 of them or 10 of them. And I think they've already blown through 4.
Well, it looks like they've blown through 1, but the others are announced. And
I see. I misread then. So was it they've blown through 1 and announced 3 more? I think was that.
Yeah, so,
okay, I misread.
And I think that once they start getting closer to like the other ones, they'll start announcing the rest of them. But yeah, they've definitely hit their first stretch goal.
Crafty Dog, we're talking Star Traders Frontiers is the space game that they made that is just... Thank you, Spaz. I was about to post that myself. But you're a little more you're a little quicker on the draw. Yeah,
reflexes.
Yeah, we all love Star Traders we all love Star Traders Frontiers around here. So yeah, so great to see them be successful. Spaz, did you have any other non-space gaming news to talk about?
Well, technically, this is actually space gaming news. I just neglected to mention it. After over 7 years on Steam, FTL got achievements.
Oh God, right. I saw that and I forgot about it because.
So is everybody gonna have to go back and play through it again just to get them?
Nope.
If you already had them unlocked, you just fire up your game and whatever you already had unlocked becomes unlocked.
Oh, really? That's pretty great.
Yeah,
actually.
And in fact, I dove back into the game because, well, I love roguelikes, and so yes, I dove back in. I'm up to 124 hours in the game now.
Oof! I mean, it's a great game, one of the best. But that is, I forgot about that. That is funny that after however many 7 years,
7 years, yeah.
Jeez. I mean, hey, more power to them. They're still doing stuff to the game after 7 years. That's amazing. I mean, I think at this point they can do whatever the hell they want because that game spawned its own subgenre of space games.
Yeah, and think about how many games since then have taken inspiration not just from FTL but from the roguelike genre in general, and would not exist now if not for FTL, or at least not in the form they took. I mean,
I think you can give
Out There.
Yeah, Out There.
Let's see. There's Shortest Trip to Earth.
Right.
There's XO.
XO.
That's taken a lot of inspiration from that.
You got Icarus, which is kind of a first-person FTL.
Sure. There's also, surprisingly enough, Slay the Spire, because of the node-based travel was inspired by FTL. So, yeah, it's to say it's an influential game is a bit of
we got to give FTL a lot of credit because one, it gave a lot of people inspiration to make their own game, but two, it showed people that, hey, people want space games. I mean, beyond Star Citizen and Elite, of course, people saw FTL and go, hey, I could probably make a game like that. And people want space games. So now we're like not drowning in space games. We have so many space games. And I think FTL is a huge reason for that. So we got nothing but love for FTL around here. Came out at the right time and did just about everything right. I can't play it because it gives me terrible anxiety, but it's a great game. So yeah, 7 years and they finally got achievements. Well, I guess they're gonna have DLC in another 5.
Could be. I mean, they're probably still going to throw stuff at Into the Breach.
Oh God,
I would assume
they haven't thrown anything at that, have they? Since it was released?
No, not that. They've been patching, but
it's such a huge hit for them. It's such a huge hit for them. They're going to be adding stuff to it. Industries of Titan. That sounds familiar.
Oh yeah, that's going to be on Epic. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Right. Excuse me. Oh yeah. Oh right. Yeah, that one. I completely forgot about that game. So, Hunter. Oh wait, Spaz, did you have any more non-space gaming? Any news to cover?
Just one little minor thing.
Yeah.
Flashing Lights got an update today.
What? What did it get?
Yeah.
What did it get? What did it get?
They fixed the getting in and out of cars animation.
Oh, well, that definitely did need to be fixed. Yes, that definitely needed fixing. Absolutely.
I thought this wasn't going to be the patch podcast.
No, it's just it's a minor thing. But
we love flashing lights.
We did stream it, and we love flashing lights. We want to get more people playing it.
We streamed it twice. It's so good.
They added a tow truck.
Oh yes. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, a tow truck. Oh boy. We're gonna have to stream. I'm gonna have to put it back in the calendar. We're gonna have to stream it again.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely do that again,
folks. If you're not aware, it's not a space game, but since we've started streaming a more wider variety of things, we've streamed Flashing Lights twice now. It is a open world game where you can be a police person, a firefighter, or a EMT. And you get jobs to go around the city and save people or stop crimes or get cats out of trees. And it's janky.
Isn't that the GTA 5 like role-playing server?
No.
I don't know. This is a separate game. I saw someone streaming that though the other day. I saw someone streaming, what the hell was it called? Like 5M or something like that, where they're a cop and you could totally RP being a cop. I saw someone streaming that the other day in GTA Online, but
not free space.
But this is an open world game where you can be a cop or a firefighter, and it's got multiplayer co-op, and it's janky as hell, but it's so much fun. You can save cats from trees, put out fires, and like you can have up to 10 people on a server, right?
No, I think it's 10 to 12. Yeah.
Brian.
And if there's a cat stuck in a tree, you got a couple ways to go about it. You can get a ladder and you can put it up to the tree and then go get the cat. Or you can cut the tree down.
Oh, I was going to say, when Brian said save cats from trees, are some of the trees ants? You got to watch out.
Oh. That'd be a fun game. But no ants. So, yeah.
We have decided you are not cats.
That's right. That's right.
That's great. That's really great. So that's a nice little bit of news for a little game we love that we will probably be streaming again. So we kind of saved the best for last because, Hunter, you got some stuff to talk about.
Yes, but before I get into the meat and potatoes, as it were, there is something of note that Wizards of the Coast has announced a story-driven RPG studio to be led by some former BioWare veterans.
Oh,
particularly last April, they hired James Olin, who worked on Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, Knights of the Old Republic, Dragon Age, the Star Wars Knights, or the Star Wars The Old Republic MMO, Jade Empire, and Mass Effect, stuff like that. I think he had a little to do with Anthem before he left. But yeah, him and this other guy were former BioWare vets, and so Wizards of the Coast has those guys kind of like leading the studio. I'm kind of curious to see what comes from that. There's a little gaming news for you. And
that's good.
Yeah, so I put a link to the article I found on PC Gamer there in the podcast green room. But so I kind of want to like take a moment and talk about Blizzard. And Blizzard's stepdad Activision is really rich and has a lot of money and has been like spoiling the crap out of their child Blizzard, and Blizzard's just kind of like lost its way. And I I don't know. Stupid analogy aside, I really think the stuff going on with Blizzard over the last couple of years has just been kind of ridiculous, to say the least. I mean, they've had a lot of heavy bad marks over the last 2 years that are just obnoxious, and the whole political nonsense aside, with the banning of the the players from league tournaments just because of their opinions on certain things, and like the way they it's not that like they don't have a right to handle certain things certain ways, but at the same time the way in which they handled it, with the overbearing force in which they handled it, and the lack of clarity on things, they're not their openness is very not open on a lot of stuff, to the debacle on their announcement with Diablo Mobile, right? You guys have phones, right?
Ugh.
It's one of those things where I compare that. So like a year later, they come back and we're like, we're sorry, here's Diablo 4's trailer. And it's just like, well, that's cool, but like, you have me nervous now, Blizzard, because you look at something like Gearbox with Homeworld 3. They're like, here's Homeworld 3, and it's coming, but we also want to let you know that we're working on a Homeworld mobile game on the side. That's like, just so you know. But the big announcement here is Homeworld 3, right? As we're Blizzard's big announcement, 2 years ago was like, oh hey, here's the next Diablo game. You guys have phones, right? And it's just kind of like, wait, are you guys joking? This is a joke. Like literally, people asked, "Is this a joke?" during the Q&A. Like that's how dumbfounded and shocked people were that was even real. So all you combine all of the things that they have been doing over the last couple of years, just all the bad PR, just all the bad practices, to what has happened with Warcraft 3 Reforged. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. It's just it's more bad PR, and it's more bad, like, it's more
it's bad in every level. Like there's nothing this didn't touch.
Right. And it's one of those things where it's just like, it's hard to even freaking express just like how ridiculous this was. So to kind of boil it down into simplest terms, they over a year ago at this point, they announced this game. You could pre-order it, which is what I did. I pre-ordered this thing.
Oh no.
I pre-ordered it December of 2018.
I'm sorry, man.
And I pre-ordered December of 2018 because I love Blizzard's IP, right? Warcraft 3 is still technically a fantastic game. Right? I love StarCraft. I love StarCraft 2. I love Diablos 1 and 2 for sure. I've got a like non opinion really about Diablo 3. It's a good dungeon crawler. It looks pretty. I prefer Diablo 2's mechanics better, but I mean, who knows? It looks like Diablo 4 is going to get a good mix of all that stuff, but given everything going on, as excited as I am definitely not holding my breath. So Warcraft 3 is in development, and it's supposed to have, had a lot of things touched up, new interfaces, new everything. And it launches, like, I'm playing the beta about a month before it comes out, and it's just a very buggy experience. The menu, the gameplay, everything is sluggish and slow. And mind you, I've got a 2070 in my machine. I've got like, an 8-core processor, 30 something gigs of RAM. I ain't running on dirt. It's not a potato over here. And it was just kind of shocking. I was like, well, this is the beta, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the release is going to be about. And the game releases, and I go to play it, and the menu is just sluggish and buggy as hell. And I was like, well, hold on a second, guys. I thought this was like, what's going on? Just like, hold on a second. Like, it was unplayable. Like, for me, it was unplayable. Now, granted, there were a few people out there that didn't have a bad experience. Like, they were able to launch the game and play. And for those people, I say, congratulations. I hope you enjoy your time with it, and I hope you can understand the tribulation that the rest of the community is going through, because it's not just like a handful of people, it's a lot of people. Like, the game launched with sluggy, like it bugs, just it wasn't good. And then the news kept getting worse from there. It forced all of the classic people to update to the new launcher and utilize the new launcher because they're trying to get rid of the old battle.net system of things. So they forced an update to the classic game to use the new launcher, which again is kind of like, well, no one asked for that. No one wants to use that. Like, I was playing classic. If they didn't want to play the new thing, why would you force that upon the old players? For one. Two, it's kind of like the StarCraft remake, right? When they re-released StarCraft with the remaster, whatever it was, like you could still use the old menu. You could still use the old, like, it was all still pretty much the same when they remastered it. They didn't really destroy anything for people who wanted the classic look still. Like, you can still play in like a 4:3 resolution if you wanted to, you know what I mean? Like, they haven't taken away the opportunity for people who want to still play the classic game, right? This is not that, right? And so they forced this update on people. They took away, not only did Reforged not come out with all the same features that Classic had, they actually updated Classic to not have any of the features other than just standard multiplayer and the campaign. Like, all the custom like matches and map making stuff was all, not all of it, but there was like a good chunk of like the customization multiplayer stuff that's just gone. And they reversed that and put that on the classic players as well, which is I think completely unfair and unwarranted. And then to kind of like drive a nail home, because Valve got a hold of the Dota name and franchise and went and ran with it.
Right. Yeah.
Now Blizzard has put this kind of mandate that any mods for the game are their property, and it is quite literally to stop the next Dota from happening, so that way they can reap any and all the benefits. Which, granted, I can understand that, but at the same time, what about the person who made it? And that's the concern that I have, is like, what does this mean for the individual who put all that effort in to make something fun, right? Now you take their hard work and you make the profit off of it. And I think that's not cool either. So, like, on every single level, there was just so many things about it that were bad. And then you start getting into the people that were getting banned on the forums for wanting a refund. Threads on the forums that were talking about refunds were like deleted. Like, there was so much other like bad PR and things that were happening, and like moderation that was unnecessary to it feels like somebody besides Blizzard is pulling the strings on this for some reason. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like the Blizzard that we know. Now, I will say this. Today, I took it upon myself to open up the game, because I still have it, because I didn't refund it. I took it upon myself to open up the game, and the game actually was smooth. The menu was smooth. The gameplay was smooth. The game is actually playable right now. So that's good news. But because of all this, Blizzard has instituted the instant refund button for people. So,
dear Lord, that. What?
Yeah. If you want a refund, they're giving people like instant refunds now, I guess. So it's just like, and this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Like the Blizzard that we knew and loved, and companies that were like Blizzard in the time frame when Blizzard was, like you used to look at Blizzard and you'd think like there's a property who puts out solid IPs. Like they put out, I mean, you may not like all their games, right? Personally, because you just might be into StarCraft. You might be into their RTSs, but you don't like Diablo. And that's fine. But it's still like one of those things where a lot of people, even though they didn't play Diablo, respected Diablo because it was just like, well, that looks like a very well-made game. And, so many companies, it feels like, and I'm not trying to put this on the developers. I'm trying to put this on because it's not their fault, right? They make a game to the specifications in which they're told to make it. They're told to go a certain direction with things, and that's the direction that they go. And so I can't fault the grinders on this, but what I do fault are the peoples that are pulling the strings saying like, do this now or else. All of our investors are screaming at us because we haven't put a real game out in so many years. And this is the same company who says that they're coming out with an Overwatch 2, which is just a glorified DLC for their first game. It's like, it's because I don't know if you guys heard about this. Did you hear about the Overwatch nonsense?
No.
So Overwatch 2 is essentially everything that Overwatch 1 is, plus a single player game, like a single player component, in like 2 new map modes or whatever it is, 2 new like multiplayer modes. I think it's multiplayer. They get something a little extra. But here's the funny thing though, like all of the multiplayer stuff, with the exception of those 2 new things, are coming to Overwatch 1.
Yeah, well, it's basically a standalone DLC that's the price of the full game. But that's
the
not
thing,
as egregious.
Well, no, it's not. But like
come out and bust the old game, that's.
Well, but that's the thing though, is like they didn't want people who were playing Overwatch 1 to feel like they were left out because they couldn't invest in Overwatch 2. So it's like all the multiplayer stuff is still going to be the same in both games. So like if you're playing Overwatch 1, you're playing with people who could also possibly be in Overwatch.
Okay. I know nothing of Overwatch except that it exists. That's all I know about Overwatch. Yeah, Blizzard's shine has really gotten dull over the last several years, and it's really sad to see. Really sad to see. When I heard, sorry,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say when I heard about the modding thing, especially because one of the neat things about StarCraft and Warcraft were all these amazing custom games people would make, like go-kart racing and soccer, and like I didn't really play them much, but I dabbled with them just to see what people did with their creativity. It was amazing. And now Blizzard's like, well, if you do that, we own it. Like, why do you hate people?
We had a long talk about that the other night in here. So
I believe it.
And it's not really that they own it. It's just that other people can't take the name of your mod, like what happened with Dota, where Valve ended up with Dota, but Dota was originally a Warcraft mod. So Blizzard's just like, well, the only thing that we can own of it, we can't own the actual gameplay or the idea of the mod, but we can own that name. So you can't just take the name somewhere. It's like with Battle Royale stuff, right? Where they did PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, but it was basically built off of Arma. So had they called it the same thing that they called it in there, then Bohemia could have said something. So yeah, just forced a name change basically.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what it boils down to, is like you've got well, I think even PlayerUnknown Battleground tried to sue Fortnite for like intellectual property, but it's kind of like saying like, well, it'd be like Quake trying to sue Unreal Tournament. You're just like, hold on, dude. I mean, there's similarities, yes, but it's
yeah, and honestly, I feel that in the case where it's a very specific mechanic, like the shrinking circle on the map, that, you know, yeah, at that point you should be able to actually have something on. You know, you can't lift the exact thing of my game and change the name and then. But apparently that's not how the law sees it, so whatever.
Sorry, I got a battery backup a couple weeks ago and it just clicked on for some reason. Like, what happened? So I guess it works. Yay!
Probably just a self-test.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they normally go through self-tests every once in a while just to make sure things are going.
No, it says the software says it intervened for some reason.
Are your lights still on? Is it dark in the room?
I didn't have my lights on. No, the printer's on. I wonder if the power just blinked. So yay. I guess we had a 5-second little blackout, but I didn't notice anything. Good job. If you're wondering, folks, this is an APC battery backup. I got it because we apparently had a blink out in the middle of the night. I come to my PC, and like one of my GPU fans is spinning like a jet engine. And I'm like, I don't want that to happen again. So I shelled out for this relatively expensive APC or UPC battery backup thing. It's great. So yay, it works.
So real quick, I was going to say,
sorry.
Somebody in the chat's been watching Picard.
Oh god. Yeah. Picard is great so far. It's great. So yay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, despite the little like things that are bugging me about it that just don't quite line up with like previous Trek, it is way more enjoyable than some of the other new Trek we've gotten.
So have they shown like the original Enterprise anywhere, like as a model, or like,
Are you talking about TOS?
A museum piece or something? Yeah, the TOS
Yes.
Enterprise. Because I'm wondering, did they show the original TOS Enterprise or did they show
Yes.
the JJ version?
TOS.
Okay, because that makes all the difference, because that tells you where you're at.
Oh, it's
yeah, let's
Prime
not go into
Universe.
spoilers, guys. Let's not go into spoilers because there are people who still haven't seen it.
Sure. So,
But if anyone's wondering,
what I just said though is in the trailer. So there is the trailer does show.
It's true, and it is in the Prime Universe. It has nothing to do with the JJ verse, the Kelvin timeline, different timeline, entirely. We are past Nemesis, still in the Prime timeline.
Yeah, we are 20 years past Nemesis, I believe.
Yeah, I believe 20 years past Nemesis. And it's great, you guys. It's really great. Not even kidding. It's great. Just FYI. So I wanted to wrap up with just a little catch up of what we're all playing lately. Like the one or two games that really have our attention lately. So Jim, I'll start with you. What would you say the top one or two games you've been playing lately that have taken up the majority of your gaming time?
The last 2 weeks, all I've played is Elite. Like
Elite?
I'm just
What?
just because I'm kind of wallowing in self-pity and needed a game that was terrible. So no.
Oh.
Honestly, it's because they were gonna nerf diamond mining. So I decided it's time to go diamond mining. And I went and made like 300 million in 2 days. And now it's like, oh, okay, now I can do any ship that I want. So I'm just kind of like screwing around and getting my Federation rank up now because I kind of want a Corvette and I haven't been able to have one. So I actually have something to do. But as soon as I get the Corvette, I'm going to park it and quit playing probably because then it's like, well, nothing to do.
Oh boy. Elite. Wow.
But I'm having fun, just like, having just a sort of chill experience with.
I guess that's fair. That was just not the answer I was expecting. Like, at all. But hey, if it's what you need right now, it's what you need, and you have it, so why not take advantage of it? If you're an old hat at it, it doesn't ask much of you really. So it's like, why not? You can definitely game to podcast to. You know what I mean? Baz, what about you? What would you say is your top 1 or 2 games recently?
Well, aside from SGO, which
Of course.
is obvious because I play that every day,
Of course.
I go back into FTL, and I've been enjoying that quite a bit. Trying to get some of the things that I was not able to get earlier on in my earlier playthroughs, so I'm trying to earn those achievements. The other one is Slay the Spire, because I'm on a total roguelike kick these days. Oh, and one other, which I'm terrible at, Planetary Dust-Off, which, if you've not heard of that, is ARPG style pixel art, and very, very difficult. I still haven't gotten past... I've gotten past the first boss twice. But then when you die, you have to start all over again.
Oh, wow.
It's
a roguelike.
It's like that big round thing that kind of bullet hells.
Yeah, it's very bullet hell.
Yeah, because it started out looking like a Nuclear Throne sort of game, and then I saw it like switch into bullet hell, and I was like, oh.
Well, it is it would be.
It reminded me of Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much in that vein. Maybe not as complex as Gungeon, but kind of a mix between the difficulty of Binding of Isaac and the complexity of Enter the Gungeon. Sort of in between those two.
Hunter, what about you? What's been taking up your gaming time of late?
Oh man, God. Star Trek Online.
Of course.
I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, Conan Exiles. I've been playing quite a bit of Conan Exiles.
Really? How was that?
I actually enjoyed it. I got a server set up. It's currently down because I'm doing some some server migration stuff here at home. But I had a server set up. I had a buddy of mine playing on it with me, and I've actually been digging it. They've got pets and mounts and all kinds of stuff now that you can get. It really kind of just enhances the exploration of the world a lot. There's a lot more like interaction type stuff that you can actually do in the game now. That's a lot of fun. And starting to get into like exploring some of the dungeons and caves and stuff like that. So there's quite a bit of stuff in the game that I was having trouble with it before because it felt like just a standard survival crafting game with not a lot to do other than just like craft and survive. So now that there's more, there feels to me like there's a lot more to it, and like you can get these, I forget what they're called, but they're like these big these giant like turtle gorillas or whatever they're called, and you can actually pick up infant versions of them and take them back and like tame them and raise them, and then they become adult versions, and you can actually have them follow you, and they become your pack mule and like assistant. So like if you come under attack by something, like they'll fight it off with you, and if you become like encumbered, you can actually dump a whole bunch of your inventory onto them, which is pretty cool. So there's just more than when I first started playing it. Like when I first started playing, I felt like it was just like constant, like die, respawn, and now it doesn't feel like that. So, but I haven't really been doing that because, like I said, I've been dealing with like some server migration stuff at home. because I have a couple of servers here, and so I'm trying to migrate resources and things around. But so it's primarily been STO as far as like the Prime game that I've been playing the most of. I had to stop doing my Star Wars streams on Sundays because I ran into a unique little glitch with KOTOR and OBS. I showed this to Jim, and he was like, "I've never seen that."
What happened?
It's strange. So if I'm playing KOTOR 2, or this actually happened in KOTOR 1, but it wasn't as noticeable. So if I'm playing KOTOR 2 and I'm like on the screen, if I'm not touching my mouse, if I'm just doing everything with the keyboard, everything's fine in OBS. But as soon as there's like action on the screen and I'm moving my mouse around, like say while turning, if on my screen when I'm playing, I don't notice it at all. I don't even see anything change. But over on OBS, if I look over at OBS, well, I'm like, if I'm spinning my character and I move my mouse, the game goes like stuttery and laggy and like all kinds of.
Is this on
glitchy?
Is this on game capture or display capture?
It's on display capture because you can't quite get it under game capture. It's really strange. But here's the deal. I have, when you look at the statistics, because OBS, like the latest version of OBS, has tons of statistics in it, right? Like you can pull up all kinds of like just stats. I'm getting 0 rendering lag. I'm getting 0 frame rate drops due to like whatever. I'm getting max FPS. I'm getting no general frames dropped. Nothing. And yes, Chadams, or however you say your name, I did disable cursor capture on OBS, and it didn't change anything. As a matter of fact, the cursor disappears from the game, but whenever I move the mouse, it still glitches out. Like Jim and I spent probably a solid half an hour just looking at it, trying all kinds of different settings, and it was just like I have nothing. So I'm still trying to sort that through. It's not that I'm gonna stop streaming or like stop doing Star Wars games. It just kind of like, I mean, it's hard to play a game like that when
it took the wind out of your sails.
Well, I mean, how is someone supposed to watch that? Like, especially like if I'm not seeing it on my end, it's only happening through OBS. I should probably like record it happening like as it's happening, because I can probably get that to come out and I can just show you guys. It is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. You should also ask on the OBS Discord. They're insanely helpful over there. I posted on the subreddit with a question and told them I'd follow up with a video later to kind of show it. I might jump on their Discord too and just be like, "Hey,
have you tried the widescreen patch?" Apparently, according to PC Gaming Wiki, there is a widescreen patch. I'm wondering if the
widescreen patch is better applied to KOTOR 1. But KOTOR 2, if you use the community like enhancement thing that adds all that content, one of the things that it does is it also adds in the widescreen feature. But here's the deal though, right? Here's the deal. I totally believe that it has something to do with the game engine or whatever the game situation is with that game and OBS, because any other games that I have, it's not an issue. And it only happened in KOTOR and KOTOR 2.
Well,
Is that not crazy?
I'm gonna post a utility I found recently in the green room. It's called DG Voodoo 2. It helps older games run like more smoothly, and I used it for Starlancer the other day. And prior to using it, Starlancer would flicker. It would stutter. It was terrible.
Was it flickering and stuttering as you were playing it, or in OBS?
In OBS. It was in OBS. Not as I was playing it in OBS.
Oh, interesting. Yes, send that my way.
But I added these things. I added these DLLs to Starlancer, and it's freaking great. Like freaking great. Yeah, let me see if I can send that to you. It might make your antivirus software go a little crazy.
Okay, Brian, we talked about this, okay?
What?
Is this one of the things the Russians gave you? Come on, Brian, you know better.
No, it's one of the reasons I got rid of Bitdefender and whatnot, because it was just not letting me use it. So I got rid of it. And Malwarebytes, I got rid of it mostly because of this. And it runs great. Like I've used it for this, and I used it for the Project IGI stream I did the other day. I was having the same problem. It was like super stuttery.
So instead of whitelisting the app that the antivirus was picking, you just got rid of your antivirus?
I tried whitelisting it
right now.
I tried whitelisting it, and I tried whitelisting it in both Bitdefender and Malwarebytes, and nothing. Every time I would download it or try and use it, it would always quarantine it every bloody time. So I just deleted them.
Brian, have you heard about our Lord and Savior, Comrade Putin? Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
So there's the link. I put it in the green room for DG Voodoo 2. It has been a real lifesaver for me. Because I'm reading through this. I'll put the wiki article in there too. I might have some helpful stuff for you. But yeah, old games can be really tricky with OBS. It's gotten better. It's definitely gotten better, but it still can be real tricky. So I get it. But yeah, no, I'm relying on Windows Defender now because I don't remember the last time I got a virus. So hopefully it's okay. Because it was just.
I mean, your computer just kicked over to the battery, so nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that was a self-test. I looked at the software. That was a self-test.
Russians have hacked you and they're stealing your power.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Anyway, so it sounds like it's going to wrap it up for us, which is, about an hour and a half. That's pretty good, right?
Blizzard, fix yourself. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Check yourself before you doth wrecketh yourself. All right, that was stupid. So just a couple of quick programming notes before we wrap up. Tomorrow morning on the stream, we're going to be returning to Star Drop. We played that last month, and we're shocked at how good it was. It was not only a good game, but it was a great story. So we're going to return to that. I don't know if we're going to finish it tomorrow, but we're at least going to get closer to finishing it tomorrow. And then next week on the show, we're going to be talking to the developer of Titan Outpost. Is going to be joining us next week. So we have a lot of good stuff coming up. Like we have Lord of the Rings Online later this week. We've got, good old Mass Effect. So yeah, we have a lot of good stuff coming up. So as always, I want to thank everyone who has spent time hanging out with us today. There are a lot of different places on the internet you can spend your time and put your eyeballs. And we appreciate you sharing your time with us, because the time is the one thing you will not get back, no matter what. So we really appreciate that. And we're trying to make Space Game Junkie a full-time endeavor. So if you can help with that, please go to spacegamejunkie.com/support. There you'll find links to our Patreon, our merch store, affiliate links, one-time donations, all that stuff. I would love to be able to put out more content, and if this can pay my rent, then I could definitely do that. So I want to thank everyone who's already donated through Patreon and any other method. We have some people who've bought shirts and mugs. I actually hung out with a guy the other day from Texas who was in town who had our shirt, which was really nice little ego boost, actually. So any way it could help would be wonderful. But we overall appreciate you hanging out with us. Chat room was pretty active tonight, so we love seeing that. So thank you. With that, we'll call it a night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time for some more Star Drop. Have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.